Okay, I was totally not going to start with this. I don't usually expect people to reveal my darker, murkier past. I did work for the Labour Party. I went down to London in 1995. As a wee boy, just come out of university, I'd been a journalist for a couple of years. And this was it. This was our chance to change Britain, to get away from the elite domination of a nation, to change it once and for all, to fundamentally end the way that finance was running the British state. And what did we get? Tony Blair. I was there for about 10 minutes when I realised it was going to go wrong. I was there for a year in total and I left. It was our best chance. It was our genuinely Britain's best chance to change, probably in my lifetime, and we blew it. This is Scotland's best chance to change in our lifetime. We can't afford to blow it, and that's the difference. So how do you know blow it? Well, first of all, a lot of people might have given me the impression that this is as good as it gets. It most certainly is not as good as it gets. We don't get to talk very much. We're all chippering up and cheery in the Yes campaign. We never say the bad stuff, but I'll say a few of the bad stuff. Britain is the second lowest paid economy among the advanced economies. It is the worst, apart from Lithuania, it's the worst country in all of the European Union for giving workers any say at the work. Its industrial democracy is dreadful. It's the 8th biggest gap in the European Union in pay between men and women. It's got one of the lowest pensions in Europe, and of the 28 European countries, we are the 4th most likely to have pensioners living in poverty. We have a productivity rate which is about 16% below the average of advanced economies. We've got an innovation rate which is pathetic given the education levels and the quality of our university sector. Our exports, barring oil, are dreadful, really, really poor. And above all, we are the 4th most unequal country in the world. It's not as good as it gets. It's definitely not. In fact, in an awful lot of measures, you'd be better if you were virtually anywhere else. I think you don't hear enough. So, what is it about this 4th most unequal country? We hear it a lot, and I think people just assume that in itself, the 4th most equal country, that'll persuade them. You need to explain why this is. What's the problem with being the 4th most unequal country in the world? Well, that problem, in its heart, stymies our chances to do anything that we want to do with our country. Let's assume that we want a country which isn't run only for its top 1%, that it's run for its people, that it's a country which shares its wealth, its resources, its successes, and its failures, shares them equally among its people, so we all get a decent chance. Because we've had 40 years of me-first politics in Britain, and we all know that we all came second. We need a politics that puts all of us first, which is incidentally the tagline of Commonweal, and allofusfirst.org is the website. Go and have a look. It's interesting to me that in all the world nobody thought registering the words allofusfirst.org in a row was worth doing. They were all available. I think that says something about global politics. But how do we do it? How do we put all of us first? Well, let's look at what happens if you've got inequality in a society. We want strong social services. We don't want to run deficits. We want to be able to invest in infrastructure. We want to do the things that everybody knows makes a good, equal, effective society. But we can't. And the reason for that is because of inequality. Nobody ever explains this properly. If you take the workforce that we have in Scotland just now, and you assume that a decent salary, a decent wage, which you can live on, you're not a tax dodger, you're not a tax lawyer, you're not relying on benefits, you're paying, you're contributing, you know you can look after your family. Let's say that was a salary of £25,000 to £35,000. Of everybody who's in work in Scotland just now, only 1 in 5 earns between £25,000 and £35,000. 3 out of 5 earn less than £25,000, and half of everybody who's in a job in Scotland earns less than £21,000. We are the 2nd lowest paid economy of any advanced economy in the world. Only the United States is worse. So, is that just a bad thing for those in the low pay? No, it's a bad thing for us all. If we didn't have that massive inequality, if you took our labour market and you said, let's not bother pretending there's beneath economic growth, let's just distribute the wealth that we have more equally. We did this. It's a paper on our website, the Leith Foundation website, called Investing in a Good Society. And what we did was we remodelled the Scottish economy as if the people in that economy had the level of inequality, or rather the level of equality that they've got in the Nordic countries, and the level of participation in the labour market that they've got in these countries. Not growing the economy, just making it fairer. And what we did was we took that new data set and we ran it through the same tax model that the UK uses. If we could achieve the levels of equality that they've got in the Nordic country, we would generate £4 billion of additional tax without raising tax. The reason that Britain's finances are a disaster is because half of the population is too poor to pay tax. Because we thrive, our corporations thrive on low pay. We have far too few indigenous Scottish companies making things, doing things. Britain's one of only 2 countries in the developed world that saw a decrease in its industrial production over the last 30 years. France was the other. They dropped by 4%, we dropped by 35%. Germany increased by 50%, Norway increased by 100%. It isn't normal to be this rubbish. We can turn it round. We can fix this. All I really want to get the message across tonight is that Scotland has the knowledge of how to fix this. We have the skills and the people to fix it. God knows we've got the resources to fix it, and I'm absolutely convinced that we have got the will to fix it. And the only thing stopping us is the City of London, which won't let us fix it. The way we would fix this is make a proper economy. The big mistake that Gordon Brown made was that you can have a crap economy and fix it with taxing and tax transfers. Working tax credits were just a way of subsidising corporate low pay. Nobody did any better out of it. In fact, nobody did better out of any Gordon Brown's policies. 10 years of economic growth and average wages didn't rise. It all went to people at the top of society. We can't have that anymore. The way that you change this and the way that you fix it is that you have a productive economy. Economy that does and makes things. If your economy is based on how to rip money after other people, which is what our economy is, all you need is low pay. Now, the way this works is retail. Where does their profit come from? Your pockets. Property market. Where does the profit come from? Your pockets. The financial system. Where does the profit come from? Your pockets. These people aren't making things. These people aren't doing things. They're not creating value. They're grabbing your value. They take more out of our economy than we put back in. You look at a Nordic economy, you look at an effective economy, they make things, they do things. When you make things, when you do things, it needs skills, it needs people. When people have got skills, they get paid. That's how you create a high-wage economy. The other way you create a high-wage economy is to stop leaving workers on their own to fend against large corporations. We need industrial democracy, proper industrial democracy in this country, which gives workers a say in their work and gives them some control over their terms and conditions and their pay levels. We, again, are the second worst in Europe. Everybody else does this. Volkswagen, big successful company, hardly what you'd call a failure. 1/3 of their board is elected from among its employees. They recently had a look at a board meeting and they said, hold on a minute here. The chief executive's getting carried away. We need to pull the salary back in. And that's what they did. They have compressed pay scales because they have industrial democracy. Now, there's no time here. I can talk about this for about 3 hours. There's so much that we can do. There's so much that we know how to do to address the issue of inequality. Equally, there's so much that we know how to do to fix our poxy, unproductive economy. What we have to do is support the development and the building of a new generation of productive industry. There's lots of things we can do to do that, but perhaps above all, we need a national investment bank which doesn't take the private banking assumption that if I lend it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I haven't made a profit by 5:30, that's a mistake. If we want to build factories, if we want to build manufacturing in this country, we need finance that says this is going to take 5 years and we understand it. We don't have the banking system that's going to do that, so we're going to have to build it. We can and we know how. We need a proper industrial policy which says, nah, we're not just going to sit back and hope for the best. We're going to say that the people democratically have a right to have some opinion about their economy. The one thing they've been telling us Thatcher you weren't allowed, only the markets can decide. No, it's not only the markets that can decide. If we want to create a manufacturing economy, there's things that we can do to make it happen. A quick example is stop using procurement policy to buy cheap stuff overseas and start building stuff in this country and buying it here. We can do that. It's entirely legal despite the things that they tell you. There's so much that we could do with industrial policy. Innovation rates, worker innovation rates are the most important. I don't think I've got time to tell you about that just now. There's so much that we can do. We really can. We need an industrial policy. So when we get this right, we have an industrial policy that creates a good economy. A good economy creates good jobs. Good jobs make good taxes. Good taxes make strong public finances. Strong public finances make excellent public services. And excellent public services make strong social cohesion. That's it. That's the Scotland we want. We call it Commonweal. Commonweal, a term, an old Scots term for well shared in common and for the common well-being. A society that puts all else first. We know how to do it. We have everything. We're about to publish in a couple of weeks' time a fabulous thing with some youngsters. They're geniuses. I love these guys. They took Scotland and they've done an atlas of Scotland. 58 maps. And in each map they superimpose what we've got. There's a map that shows you where our wind speeds are. There's a map that shows you where our tidal currents are. There's a map that shows you where our productive land is. There's a map that shows you where our people are. There's a map that shows you our geostrategic position in the world. Map after map after map, you just look at it and you say, my God, this country's got everything we need. All this stuff this week about sterling, all this stuff about, oh, you better do as you're told, we're not giving you. Giving us what? What in the hell does it you think we need, London? We're okay. We have everything that we need right here. We're ready to go. Stop patronising us. When you understand that we have that and it's sitting right in front of us, ready to get picked up, ready to get put together by us and ready to get used, you'll start to feel a hell of a lot more confident about your future. And we should be more confident about our future. We are a country that is blessed, genuinely blessed. We have just got to make the decisions to run that country for us. We can do all the things that we should do. We can take energy back into collective ownership. We've got a paper on that. It's very straightforward and very easy. It would cost nothing. We can just take energy back into collective ownership. We can become an entirely renewables-focused country if we just put the money into creating an energy storage technology industry. It would create thousands, 5,000, 10,000 jobs. We can do all of these things. And anyone that told you that we can't, anyone that told you that we're not capable of it hasn't sat down and looked at the facts, the figures, the economics, the ideas, the knowledge and the experience of people from other places. This is what I'm doing nowadays. I know there's been quite a lot of productivity and technical jargon in what I'm saying here. I only use it, I only say it because I go around town hall after town hall telling people, be confident, be certain and be sure that we're not kidding when we say that we can do this. We're going to publish probably in about late April, early May. We're going to publish one large manifesto which will explain start to finish how we transform this country from being one thing or another, from that me first country to that all of us first country. We can do this. All you have to do is look, understand, want it, and take it. It is this close.